After almost 2 years of anticipation, The Last of Us is finally here. When I found out a big part of the core team that made Uncharted 2 my favorite game ever had been working on this game, I could not wait to get my hands on it. Having played it for 3 weeks now, I'm finally able to say with absolute certainty that The Last of Us is everything you could possibly expect from it. The Last of Us tells the story of Joel, a middle-aged man troubled by his past who gets the task of escorting Ellie, a 14-year-old girl. Together, with the help of some people they meet along the way, they travel through a large part of a post-apocalyptic America to reach their goal. Infection of the cordyceps fungus has hit a large part of the population, causing the world to have completely broken down. Joel and Ellie leave their quarantine zone and meet what's waiting outside. A world totally reclaimed by nature, relentless survivor groups willing to kill you for your resources, and infected wanting to eat everything that's alive. It isn't a nice story, and it will only get worse. Without spoiling anything, what I found so great about the plot is that it doesn't follow any cliches. I found myself thinking a certain thing would occur, but almost all the time the exact opposite happened. The story built up in such a way that in the first few hours I didn't have a hard time taking a break, but as time progressed I wouldn't even think about pausing anymore. It just completely sucks you in. The ending of the game is simple and maybe a little unsatisfying, but is unexpected and with a deeper thought behind it, making me think it is one of the best video game endings I have ever experienced. All in all, the story is emotional and engaging. As you dive deeper and deeper into it, it simply grabs you but never lets go. In terms of presentation, The Last of Us does exactly deliver what you expect from a Naughty Dog game. It is safe to say that right now the limit has been reached and what you get is the most beautiful game on PS3. Whether you're walking on the streets, scavenging a dark tunnel, or entering an abandoned house, junk will be laying all around you. Never will you have the feeling that you've been at the same place twice, and all locations tell a story of their own. Walking around in a field full of grass that hasn't been cut for years, with birds flying by and the view of huge buildings in the distance is such a peaceful moment that you just simply stand still and gasp at what you're seeing. Cutscenes are exactly in the way you know them from Uncharted, with motion capture and voice acting being as outstanding as expected. The sound of a fired shot or hit with a brick feels raw and makes you think about your actions. But does that mean that the presentation is perfect? Unfortunately not. At times, Ellie can bump into you to make you stand at exactly the same spot with one full body literally inside the other. Naughty Dog has made it so that you can never be caught because of one of your allies, but what that brings with it is them running right next to the infected or screaming something in their presence without being noticed.
Fucking creepy.
Though these are little pieces of criticism, it just didn't break the immersiveness for me in any way and I could live with it. Aside from these things, there is just nothing to complain about and it is only the great things that ultimately stick in your mind. The Last of Us is a story about survival and gameplay does justice to this aspect. Ammo is scarce and you'll find yourself searching for resources all the time. Whether it is to heal yourself with a med kit or to use the simple crafting system to create a Molotov cocktail. When entering a fight, there's multiple ways to tackle it. You can either decide to be very stealthy and sneak up to your enemies to grab them by the throat and strangle them, which takes time and lets you see how hard it is to perform an act like that. If you see that you have enough bullets or get caught by an enemy, a gunfight will be the only way of escaping the situation you're in. Joel has access to a range of weapons in the game, varying from a bow to a shotgun or a rifle. Combat is brutal, body parts will be flying all over the place, zombies running behind trying to grab you is as tense as it sounds, and the bloater crushing your skull is a view you won't easily forget. However, The Last of Us is the first game in which I prefer the third method, which is simply sneaking past your enemies and trying to avoid a gunfight. The fact this is possible in the game already is a huge plus for me, and the way you don't just easily pull it off makes the result even more satisfying. Overall, gameplay in The Last of Us is slow, but varied, to make for some great situations that will stay by for a long time. Contrary to earlier beliefs I had about the game, The Last of Us features a competitive multiplayer mode that is surprisingly good. Naughty Dog could have easily gotten rid of all the survival elements in the game and make it a standard shooter, but didn't decide to do that, which is a decision I deeply respect. It can take quite a while for you to find an enemy in the 4v4 battles, and when you do, you will fight for your life. Even more so than in single player, as this time around a real player will be facing you and have his own strategy of trying to kill you for your resources. Elements like the crafting system and equipment translate perfectly to multiplayer to make for a very balanced experience that is different every time. 2 modes, essentially team deathmatch and elimination, wait for you with a decent amount of maps that are a fitting size. However, there are a few missed opportunities with multiplayer. A lack of real content like game modes and maps make it too easily lose its freshness, and a cinema mode that's not available but seems so fitting is just a real shame. With a platform transition on the way, it's not that I need the multiplayer to have a long life, but where I saw myself playing Naughty Dog's multiplayer in the Uncharted games for several years straight, I don't think I would be doing the same with this one. For a game with the essence on single player, there's just no reason to not be happy with what The Last of Us offers. Divided in 29 invisible chapters, my first playthrough on hard difficulty took me about 15 hours, and I felt like I had been rushing to see how the story progressed. With multiple difficulty levels, a new game plus mode and a bunch of collectibles you can pick up along the way, I could easily see myself putting 50 plus hours into the campaign. The fun factor is there, with the ability to always tackle a situation differently, and it just being very interesting to explore the environments and read notes left by survivors or have a look at an old guitar hanging on a wall in a completely destroyed music shop. Naughty Dog has promised one piece of DLC for single player, which has me anticipating what side of the story we will be experiencing soon. And then there's 2 for multiplayer, which I'm sure will resolve my complaints of a lack of maps and modes. Multiplayer won't immediately make you put the game away, and though I talked about how it isn't something I'd be playing for years, I could easily still see myself doing so for the coming months. All in all, there's absolutely no reason to be disappointed with your investment in a single player focused game that can easily have you playing it for 100 plus hours. The Last of Us is a game that offers everything you could possibly ask for. Naughty Dog has once again shown how they are the absolute best at creating breakthrough experiences that you simply haven't played before. Even though there are still many games coming up, The Last of Us feels like the exclusive swan song to a console I've been playing on for over 5 years now. This is Naughty Dog saying goodbye to the PlayStation 3 with an amazing, if not their best game yet. The Last of Us gets a 9.6 out of 10.